Welcome to C# tutorial for beginner. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about C# from the very beginning. If you are a beginner at C#, then this is the perfect tutorial for you because I am going to start from the very beginning. So first of all, we need to install Visual Studio in our laptop or PC because in order to write C#, you need Visual Studio. So for it, let's go to our browser, and in the browser, just search for visualstudio.com and then press enter, and then it will take you to this page, and I'll also give this link in the description. So after coming here, you will see this downloads option. Click on downloads, and here you can see you will see community, professional and enterprise option here. So community is the free version, so we are going to download this one. So we are going to click on free download and it will start downloading. It is only 4.2 MB, so this will take a few seconds, and there you can see the download is complete. So right now we just need to double click on this downloaded file. So we'll just double click here, then you will see something like this. So here just click on continue and it will start downloading and installing Visual Studio. So it will take some time. The download is complete. Now it will install. And once the download and install is complete, you will see something like this. So from here, you will see a lot of options. We do not need all those options. Here you can see .NET Desktop Development. So we only need this on to write our C# code. So we just need to check this on, and it is around 7.68 GB. So once you select this, it will select a bunch of options. So we are just going to keep it default, then click on install. And there you can see it will first download and then it will start installing. So this will take some time because it is around 7 GB in total. So right now I will just fast forward the video. And there you can see installation is done. So we can now just click on OK. And there you can see the download is complete. So right now we just need to click on launch. Over here you can see Visual Studio Community 2022. We just click on launch and it will ask to sign up. So we're just going to skip this for now. There is no need to sign up. And we need to choose the theme for the Visual Studio Code. So you can choose dark theme, blue theme, and blue extra contrast and light. So we're going to go with the dark mode. Just choose the dark mode and then click on start Visual Studio. So it will open something like this. So we can just continue without the code. Let me just click here, continue without code. And there you go. You will see this. What's new? There will be some description here. We can just close this. And here we want to create a fresh C# project. So for it, we need to click on file, then click on new, and here you can see project. So click on project. So after coming here, you need to choose this C# on. Here you can see C# console app. You need to click on this, then click on next. And here you need to give your project a name. Let's say our project name will be my_project. And now click on next. And if you want, you can also change the project location as well from here. So we are going to keep it how it is, and then just directly click on next. And over here, make sure to choose this option. Do not use top level statement. Choose this option and also choose the long-term support and choose this option. Then click on create. And there you can see it is now creating our project. So when the project is complete, you will see this, and here you can see program.cs. So this is program.cs file, and there is also a bunch of folder over here. For now, you can just ignore those and just directly focus on program.cs, this one. So here you will see the project name, namespace my project, that we just keep our project name, and this is the class name for the program, and this is called function. So inside this static void main function, we are going to write our code, and whatever we write in this function, we'll be able to execute that. So here you can see here is a simple console.writeLine hello. So console.writeLine means whatever we have inside this first bracket, we need to print this. So this program will print hello world. So how can we print hello world? So in order to run this program or run this project, here you can see at the top we have a play button here. So we just need to click on this play button or this play button. So we're going to click on this play button, and once you click on it, it should pop up a command prompt like this. Here you can see it says hello world. And if you also click on this, it will also print hello world as well. There you can see, and in order to close this, you can just click here or you can just press enter and it will be closed. So in order to print something, you just need to say console.writeLine, C will be capital, W will be capital, and L will be capital. And here you can see we said hello world. Instead of hello world, you can say here my first tutorial. If you now just run it, there you can see it says my first tutorial. There you can see. So let's say you want to find the summation of two numbers. So here you can see this is a string. So in order to print string, we need to give two double quotation. But if you want to print number, there is no need to give double quotation. If you just say here 3, and if you now run it, it will print 3. And if you find what is 3 plus 10, you can just write it like this, then run it, and it will show you the total number, I mean the total summation. But if you just give double quotation here and here, then if you run it, it will show us 3 plus 10, not the summation. So those are the basic of print in C#. Now we are going to talk about variables. Let me just show you. Let me just remove this and let me say here. Now there is different kind of variable like string, integer, character, float, boolean, and array. So how can we declare those? So in order to declare string, we need to say here string. Then we need to give our variable a name. Let's say we want student name. Here we declare a string variable, and inside string we can keep a single odd or multiple odd. We can say here John, the name is John, or you can say here my name is John. And every line should end with a semicolon. So here what we did is that we declare a variable student name and the variable type is street, and in this variable we keep this value. So this is the variable and this is the value for this variable. So the value for the student name will be my name is John. Let me just show you. If I just say here console dot writeLine, and if I say here student name, it will print my name is John. Let me just run this, and there you can see it printed my name is John. And there is other type of variable as well, like you can keep number in a variable or decimal number in a variable, also character in a variable as well. So in order to keep number in a variable, you need to say here int integer. So we are saying we want to declare a integer number. Let's say we want to keep the student age, or let me just say here s underscore age equal to, it will be 20. Now if you want to declare a integer variable, then there is no need to give any double quotation. You can just directly say here 20 and it will understand that this is a integer variable, but you cannot do it for the string variable. So now let's go and write the age, I mean print the age. Let me just copy this, Ctrl C, and I'm going to paste it here. And instead of s underscore name, we are going to say here s underscore age. So if we now run this, it will print my name is John and 20. Now let's say you want to print something like 3.14 or 4.19 or something like that. So in that case, if you want to use point value, then you need to either use float or decimal or double. You can use decimal when you need to use a accurate number, but in other case you can use float or double. But normally most of the cases you will be working with double or float, but if you are working with money, then you should work with decimal. So let me just give you an example. Let me say here double CGPA equal to, it will be 3.35 or 34. So we want to print this. So the same way we can just say here console dot write line CGPA, and if we now run it, it will show us the name, age and the CGPA. Now let's say you want to write something before the age. So how can we do it? So for it, what we need to do is that we need to give double quotation, then we need to give a plus sign here. Let me give a space here and here. So inside this, we can say the age is this one. And for the CGPA, we can do the same. We can say here the CGPA is this value. So for it, in order to print this, we need to give a over here plus sign. So here you can see we mentioned double here, but there is no need to mention the double, integer or string over here. Okay, we can just directly declare the variable type only once, and we can just use the variable any number of time we want without mentioning the type. So if we now run it, then you can see it printed my name is John, the age is 20 and the CGPA is 3.34. So here let me just add a space here. Let me run it again. And there you go. Right now there is a space. There is also one more type of variable, and that is called bool type. So the value for the bool type variable is either it's true or false. For example, we can say here bool is male. So we are checking whether someone is male or female. So we can say here either true or false. Let me say here true and make sure to end it with a semicolon. So we are checking whether someone is male or not. So if we try to print it over here, let me say here is male. So it should return us true. Let me run this, and there you can see it says true. If you say here false, then it will return false. Let me say here false. Let me run this, and it return false. Now let's say you also want to add something after the variable as well. So you want to say the age is this years old. Then here we just need to give another plus sign. Then we'll give again to double quotation. Let me give a space here, and we're going to say years old. And if we now run it, it will say my name is John. The age is 20 years old. The CGPA is 3.34 and false. So those are the basics of variable. Now let me just show you one more thing. Let me just remove those. And let me declare an integer variable. Let's say int x value is 0. And if we just print console dot write line, if we just print x, run this, it will print 0. But if we just say here x plus plus, so what will happen is that it will increase the value by on. If we now run this, it will print on. There you can see. And if we just say here x minus minus, and let me just give the value 5. So what will happen is that at the beginning the value of x is 5, and here it will come and it will minus the value by on. So the value it will print is 4. If we now just run this, they can see it printed 4. So this was increment and decrement. I just wanted to show you this because we are going to use this later. Let me just remove this. Now we are going to see how to take input in C#. What I meant by input. When we run our project, we want to give input in the command prompt over here. So how can we do it? So for it, let me just say here console.writeLine, then to first bracket, to double quotation, we're going to say enter a number. So if we just run this, it will say enter a number, but obviously we cannot enter any number. If we just press any key over here, it will just close the command prompt. There you can see. So what we want is that we want to enter a number in the command prompt and we want to store that value in a variable. So how can we do it? So for it, we need to say here console.readLine. So readLine will let us take input in the command prompt. So right now, if we just run our project, program, and it will show us enter a number and we can write anything you want. Okay, and if we now press enter, it will just stop our program. There you can see. So let me just close this. So obviously, we not only want to take the input, we also want to store the input as well. Okay, instead of number, let's say here enter a name. And here what we are going to do is that we are going to say here or declare a variable. Let me just say string person underscore name equal to, we say console.readLine. So whatever input we give in the command prompt, it will be stored in this variable. After that, we can just print this variable. So we can say here console.writeLine. Then we can say person name. So it will print the person name. So if we now run this, they can see it will ask enter a name. If we just say here Yamin, then we need to press enter and there you can see it printed Yami. So let me just say here the name is, let's give a clone here and let's give a plus icon or plus sign here. So if you want to print any variable, make sure to give a plus icon before. So if we now just run our project, there you can see enter name, let's say John. There you can see it says the name is John. If you want, you can take multiple input as well. Let me just give you an example. Let me just copy this and paste it here. So the first one is enter name. The second one is enter age. And instead of person name, let's say person age and console.readLine. So this variable will store the name and this variable will store the age. Now after taking the input, we want to print the input. So let me just copy this and paste it here. And instead of person name, we're going to say person age. And we are going to say here the age is, let me add a space here. So let me just explain it again. So first of all, we'll take the input for the name and we'll store it in this variable. Then we'll take a input for the age and we'll store it in this variable. After that, we are just saying print the person name. And before it, write this, the name is whatever name, and we are saying here the age is whatever age we give in the input. So if we now run it, it will first ask for a name. Let's say the name will be Alex. The age will be 30. And if we now press enter, it will say the name is Alex, the age is 30. There you go. Now let's say we want to create a really basic calculator. And how can we do it? Let me just remove those. And here we are going to say enter a number. And here instead of person name, we are going to say here. And here instead of string person name, we are going to say here double number 1 equal to. And let me just mention one more thing, and that is when we give a input in the command prompt, what happens is that it will take the input as a string. So what we are going to do is that we are going to declare variable double. Then we say here number 1 equal to, we need to convert the string to a number. So we need to say here 2 double, then to first bracket like this. Then we can say here console dot readline like this. Okay, before 2 double we need to mention convert dot 2 double. So what will happen is that whatever input we give in the command line, it will convert it into double. So it will convert it in double. It means in a number and store it in this num1 variable. After that, we're going to take another input. Let me just copy this and paste it here. We're going to say take enter another number, and here we're going to say num2. So we have two variable here, number 1 and number 2. So we want to find the summation of those two number. So we are going to say here console.writeLine. We can say number 1 plus number 2. There you go. So whatever input we keep in the command prompt, it will find the total summation of those number. If you now run this, then you can see entire number. Let's the number will be 10. Then press enter. It will ask us for another number. Enter another number. Let's say it will be 11. Now press enter. There you can see it printed 21. So you can also make subtraction as well. Let me just run this. Let's say here the number, first number is 30, the second number is 20. There you can see it shows 10. So before this, let me just say here the result is, and we need to keep a plus sign here like this. And if you give a plus sign here, it will give us an error like this. So we need to keep this inside to first bracket. There you go. So now let me run this. And let's say the number is 50. The another number is 25. Press enter. There you can see the result is 25. So you can also do the multiplication and division as well. Let me just show you this one for the last time. Let's say here 30, here 10, press enter. The result is 3. So this is a really basic calculator example. How can we make something like this in C#? Now we are going to talk about if else in C#. So what is if else? If else means basically if something is wrong, then something else will be right. Let's say if your age is 18, then you can vote. If your age is below 18, then you cannot vote. So let me just give you an example here. Let me just give you a basic example with bool variable true and false. So let's say here bool is male equal to true. We are saying are you a male or female? So we said Ismail is true. So we are going to write the if condition for this. So we can say here if Ismail, then we are going to print something. So we are going to say here console.writeLine, this is a male. Otherwise, we are going to say here else console.writeLine, this is a female. So here we are setting the value for Ismail is true. Since the value of Ismail is true, so it will come to this if condition and it will print this is a male. So it will not print this is female. Okay, it will be semicolon. So if you now run this, then you can see it printed this is male. Now let's say the Ismail is this time false. So if we now run this, it will print this is a female. Now let me just give you an example with a number here. Let's say here integer voter underscore age. and this is an integer value, so we need to give a number here. Let's say voter age is 19. So here in this if condition, right now we're going to check whether someone age is higher than 18 or not. So we're going to mention this voter age here. Voter age, is it is greater than 18 or not? Here you can see voter age is 19, which is greater than 18. So we're going to print you can vote. Otherwise, we're going to print you cannot vote. So this is a simple if-else condition. If someone age is higher than 18, only then he can vote, he or she can vote. Otherwise, it will print you cannot vote. So if we now run it, it will print you can vote because the voter age is 19. But if we say here 17, then if we run it, it will print you cannot vote. But what if the voter age is 18? What will happen? 18 is not greater than 18, so it will still print you cannot vote. If I now run it, then you can see it says you cannot vote. So what we can do is that after this is greater than sign, we can give the equal sign. So what it will check is that it will check whether the voter age is equal to or is greater than 18 or not. If yes, it will print you can vote. Otherwise, it will print you cannot vote. Here you can see the both age is same, and we give a equal sign, so it will print you can vote. Let me just run it, and there you can see it printed you can vote. Now there is one more condition called else if condition. So let me say here else if, and we need to be to second bracket here, and let's say here also dot write line, we can write it later. First of all, we need to write a condition here. So condition will be voter age is greater than, let's say, 20, and here we're just going to give a equal sign, double equal, and here we need to give double equal, not triple equal. So here what we are doing is that this time we are going to check whether a voter someone age is 18, then we'll say congrats, now you are able to vote. But if the voter age is greater than 20, we're going to print obviously you can vote. So here we have three conditions. So in the first condition, we are checking if the voter age is actually equal to 18, we are printing congrats you can vote. But if the voter age is greater than 20, we'll print obviously you can vote. Otherwise, we'll print you cannot vote. So here you can see the age is 18 and 18. If we now run it, it will print congrats, now you are able to vote. And let's say the voter age is 40, and 40 is greater than 20. So it will print obviously you can vote. If we now run it, it will print obviously you can vote. And if we say here 11, run this, and it will print you cannot vote. So this is called if-else condition. I tried my best to make it as simple as possible. Right now, we're going to talk about switch case. Switch case is actually the same as if-else, but the writing style is a little bit different but easy. Let me just remove the if-else condition from here. So how to use switch case? This is really easy. Let me declare a variable. Let's say int number equal to 2, let's say. And we're going to mention the switch case here. So we're going to say here switch, then to first bracket, and we're going to say here number. Then let me just keep to second bracket here like this. And here in switch case, we have case. So first of all, you need to mention switch, then you need to mention the variable here. And here we need to mention the case. Let me say here case on, and every case started from on. You can also start the case from 0 as well. So for case on, or okay, let me just start with 0. For case 0, we're going to print something. It will be console.writeLine. Let's say Sunday. and we need to close this case. So we need to say here break. So every case needs to have a break. Break means we are saying that the case end here. So case can be multiple. It can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, up to 100 or 1000, any number. So let me just copy this and paste it a few times. So 4. Okay. I think this is enough. So after case 0, we're going to say here case on, case 2, and this will be case 3. So here instead of Sunday, let's say here Monday, Tuesday, and this will be, let's say, Friday. So here you can see the value is 2. It means it will come to the case 2 and it will print Tuesday. And here you can see break. Break means the case end here. So if you now just run this, then you can see it printed Tuesday. If we say the number value is 0, then it will print Sunday. If I now just run it, then you can see it printed Sunday. Now let's say you want to take this input from the command prompt. How can you do it? For it, we are going to say here console dot write line, then to first bracket, and here we are going to say enter your favorite number from 0 to 3, and we want to take this as an input for a variable, for this variable number. There you can see number and number. So here we are going to say console dot read line, and here it will read the line. And here whenever we give any input in the command prompt, I already mentioned that it will consider it as a string. So we need to convert it to integer. So we are going to say here convert dot double, to double to integer. Let's convert it to integer 32, and we're going to give to first bracket like this, and we'll keep this console dot read line inside here. There you go. So whatever input we give, it will convert it into a integer number and store it in this variable. Then it will come to the switch case, and whatever number we input, depending on that, it will print the value. So let me just run this, and it will say enter your favorite number from 0 to 3. Let's say here on, press enter. There you can see it printed Monday. So this was switch case in C#. Right now we're going to talk about for loop and while loop. So let me just remove those code. So here we're going to talk about while loop. First of all, we need to declare a variable. Let's say integer x equal to 0, or let's say on. The value of x is on. So let me just mention why we need to use while loop or for loop. Let's say you want to print something 100 times or 1000 times. Are you going to type all those? Obviously not. Because it will take a lot of time. So we can do it really easily using for loop or while loop. So first of all, we are going to see the while loop. So first declare a variable. We say integer x equal to on. Then we say here while, then to first bracket, and we need to give a condition. We say here x smaller than or equal to, let's say 10. Then we need to give to second bracket like this. And here we're going to say x plus plus. So what does it mean? So here at the beginning we mentioned the value of x is on. Then it will come to this while loop. There you can see there is a second bracket. And it will check is on smaller than or equal to 10. If yes, then it will print something here. Let me say here console dot write line x. So it will print the value of x. After printing the value of x, it will increase the value by 1. We said here x plus plus. It means it will increase the value of x by 1. So right now the value of x is 2. Again it will come over here and it will check whether the value of x is smaller than or equal to 10. So right now the value of x is 2. So it is smaller than 10. So it will again print the value of x. Again it will come down and this time the value of x will become 3. Then it will again check the condition, is 3 smaller than 10 or not. If yes, it will come here, then this time the value of x will be 4. So at some point the value of x will become 10. It will check, okay, the value of x is 10. Okay, print the value of x. After that the value of x will become 11. Then it will come here and it will see that the value of x is not equal to 10 and also the value of x is greater than 10. So it will stop the while loop. It will not print the value of x anymore. So if we now just run this, they can see it printed from 1 to 10. If we say here, instead of 10, if we say 5, run it, it will print from 1 to 5. There you can see. So here instead of x, we are going to print, or let's say the value is, give a clone, give a plus, and we can just say here x. Let's run this and there you can see we are going to print this. The value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really easily. You can print, let's say 100 as well. You can print this 100 times really easily. All you need to do is that you just need to give here 100, click on it, and it will print from 1 to 100. There you can see the value is 1 to up until 100. So using while loop you can print anything any number of time really easily. So you can do the same thing with for loop as well. The structure, writing structure is almost similar but a little bit of different, but the logic is similar. Let me just show you. So here we're going to say for, then we'll give to first bracket like this, then we're going to declare a variable, let's say for int x equal to 0 or 1. Then we need to give a condition. We are going to say here x smaller than or equal to 5. Then we are going to say here x plus plus. So here what we are doing is that we are just declaring the value of x in the same line. Then we are checking the condition and we are increasing the value of x in the same line. So here at the beginning the value of x is on, it will check the condition, the value of x, then it will increase the value of x by 1, then print the value of x. Again it will come over here and check the condition multiple times up until this condition is wrong. So if we now run it, they can see it printed from 1 to 5. So we can add the same thing here as well. We can set the value is plus x. There you go. If we now run it, there you can see. So basically while loop and for loop is same, basically do the same thing, but writing structure is just a little bit of different. So you can pick whatever you prefer. So right now we're going to talk about function. So up until now what we did is that we write our code inside the same function. So this is called function, but we can also call it method as well. So we can declare another function outside this function. Let me just show you. We can say here static void, let's say hi. So we are declaring a function here called say hi, and here we are going to print something. Let's say hi, this is yummy. So there you can see that we created a function called static void say hi, and we want to print something called this is yummy, and we didn't write anything inside this static void main. So if we now run it, it will not print anything even though we have mentioned console.writeLine over here. So what we need to do is that we need to call this function from the static void main function from here. If we call this function from here, only then it will print the whatever we have over here. So if we just say here, say hi, then to parse bracket and end it with a semicolon, and you need to write it exactly you write over here. So if we just write this, so right now we are calling this function from the main function, so it will print this. So if we now just run this, then you can see right now it printed hi, this is Yamin. And you can also pass a value over here as well. For example, let me just say here string name. If you just write over here string name, there you can see it is giving us over here a error that we need to pass something over here because there is a string name. So if I just say here, let's say here Yamin, and there you go, it is now not showing us any error. So instead of here Yamin, we can just print this name over here. We can just give a plus, we can say here name. So here we are calling this function with this value. So this value will come over here in this string name. So the value for this name will be Yamin, and then it will print hi, this is Yamin. If we now run it, then you can see it printed hi, this is Yamin. If you say here my, then run it, it will say hi, this is Mike. You can not only send single value, you can also send multiple value over here as well. Let's say we're going to declare or we're going to keep integer value. Let me say here int number 1 comma int number 2. So right now we need to send integer value over here from here. So we are going to say here 3 comma 2, and there you go. Right now there is no issue and there is an error for this name. So here we are going to say that total is, we want to find the total of number 1 and number 2. So we can say here number 1 plus number 2. But there you go, it will give us a error, or it should give us a error. So we are going to separate it using first bracket. There you go. If we now run this, then you can see the total is 5. So instead of writing it like this, the better way is just declare a variable integer result equal to number 1 plus number 2, and then just print the result. So let's say we are going to send 10 and 25, so it will be 35. Let's run it, and there you can see the total is 35. And there is one more thing you can do with method or function, and that is instead of printing it over here, you can also print it over here as well. So for it, what you need to do is that here, let me just remove this console.writeLine from here, and we're going to say here return result. So we are just going to return this result over here. And there you can see it is showing us an error for return. The reason is here you can see we said static voids. Instead of void, we need to say here integer, because void cannot return anything. So you need to say static integer say hi. Right now you will be able to return value over here. So here what we are going to do is that we are going to declare a variable. We say here int total value equal to this one. So whatever we return over here, it will be stored in this variable. So we are calling this function. We are calling this function with this number 10 and 25. It will find the summation and it will return the result over here. And this result will be stored here. So now we can say console.writeLine total value, save it, run it, and there you can see it says 35. So I'd like to mention one more thing, that is we can call the same function multiple times. So here I'm going to say console.writeLine result. Okay, and let me just remove this in total value, and let me just copy this, and I'm going to paste it, let's say 3 times. Say hi, and this time we're going to say here void. There you can see there is no error right now, and let's send different value 20, 44, 7, 9. If we now run this program, it will call the function 3 times and it will show us 3 kind of data. So those are all the basic about method in C#. Now I forgot to mention one more thing, and that is called array in C#, array variable. So let me just show you how we can declare the array variable, because it will be useful when we are about to learn object. So in order to declare array variable, we need to mention the type, then we need to give 2 third bracket like this, then we need to mention the name. Let's say the name will be my number equal to, we can give 2 second bracket like this, and you can give your different number over here and end it with a semicolon. So array variable is, in a single variable you'll be able to store multiple data, and you'll be able to also print those data one by one as well. For example, you can say here, let me just keep one more input. Let's say you want to print the first number. How can we do it? Let's say here console.writeLine my number, and we want to print the first number. So in array, the array always start from 0. It means if we say here my number, then to third bracket 0, it will print 2. If we say here on, it will print 3. Let me just show you. We said here 0, so it will print 2. If we now run it, there you can see it printed 2. So the first index is count as 0. So this is called 0. The second one will be on. The third one will be 3. The fourth one will be 4. And this one will be 5. Like this. So this is the integer array. So let me just show you a string array. So how can we use string array? We can say here string, then to third bracket, then you can declare your variable. Let's say here my friends equal to, a person can have multiple friends obviously, so we'll give 2 second bracket and end it with a semicolon. Inside it we're going to keep multiple value. Let's say friend will be John, then Alex, then it will be Mike. Let's say you want to print Mike, so how can you print it? Let me just copy this, paste it here. It will be my friend, and instead of 0 we're going to say here 2. Since we're going to print Mike, so 0 1 2, it will be 2, and there will be a s over here, so it will print Mike. If we now run it, they can see it printed 2 and Mike. And if you want to change the value for a certain array, you can do it as well. Let's say here my friends, and we are going to mention the index number that we want to change. Let's say we want to change the value for Mike. I mean, instead of Mike, let's say it will be Adam. So let's say here 2, and the value is Adam. So right now, if we now print it, it will print Adam instead of Mike, since we mentioned the value for the index number is Adam. If we now run it, they can see it printed 2 and Adam. And if you want to print all the value in the array, you can do it as well using for loop or while loop. Let me just show you a example with the for loop. So let's say here for int I equal to 0. We are going to mention I equal to 0 because the array starts from 0, not from 1. Then we need to give a condition here, I equal to 0. Then we want to print all the name. So I can be is greater than or equal to 2 because 0 on 2, and we're going to say here I plus plus. Then we're going to print the value of I. Actually not the value of I, we're going to print the value of my friends. So how can we do it? We're going to say here console dot write line my number, not my number, it will be my friends. So what will happen is that at the beginning the value of I is 0. So it will come here, the value of I is 0. So for my friends 0, it is John. Then the value of I will increase to on, and then it will come here my friends on, which is Alex. It will print Alex. Then the value of I will be equal to 2. So this time it will print Mike. After that the value of I will be actually, this will be smaller than. Then the value of I will be greater than 2. So it will close this for loop. So if we now save it, then run this, they can see John, Alex and Mike printed. So here instead of I smaller than equal to 2, you can also say here my friends dot length. So here this dot length is a method to count the data in the array. So this will count the number of data we have in the array and it will consider this in the condition. So it will be on smaller than equal to 3. So this time we need to remove the equal sign from here and we need to run this. And there you can see it printed John, Alex and Mike. So let's say you have 1000 data in the array, then obviously this is the best way to print whatever data you want to print. Since now we are done with the array, we can now able to move to the object. So let me just remove this, and now we're going to learn about object. So for object means, first of all we're going to create a new file for this project. So here you can see this is the project, my project. So I'll just right click here, then I need to come to this add option, then click on new item, and here you need to give your item a name. Let's say the name will be book, and give the name with capital letter, start the name with capital letter, and the extension will be .cs. Then click on add, and there you can see a book.cs is created. So here we are going to declare some public variables. So we are going to say here public string, let's say title, a book has title. After title we are going to declare book, let's say price, let's say public integer price. Then we are also going to declare a variable for the author name as well, and we're going to say here author underscore name. And there you can see I have given a variable name, and the variable all of them is public. So make sure to give it public because we want to access those variable from our program.cs from here. So you need to make it public. So after declaring this variable for our book, we are going to create an object over here. So we are going to mention the book, then we need to declare something like a variable, or basically this is called object. So we'll say here book on equal to, it will be new book. There you can see it is suggesting us new book. So right now we're going to declare value for the title, price and the author name. So how can we do it? We can just directly use this book on variable over here. So we're going to say here book on dot title, and the title will be, let's say, Robert Kiyosaki. Then we want to mention the book price. Let's say here book on dot price. It will be let's say 10. And the book name, let's say book on dot author name. and it will be actually author name will be Robert Kiyosaki, let's say, and the book name will be Rich Dad Poor Dad. Let's say here Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay, it is showing us a error. Let me check. Okay, author name we measure here integer. It will be actually stream. Okay, right now it will not give us an error. There you go. So let's go and print. Let's say we want to print the author name. So for it, we're going to say console.writeLine. It will be, we need to say here book on dot author name. Let me copy it and paste it here. So if we now run it, it will print Robert Kiyosaki. They can see, okay, I need to remove the double quotation from here. Sorry. So let me just run this, and there you can see it printed Robert Kiyosaki. If we say here title, it will print the book title, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now let's say you want to have multiple book. How can you do it? All you need to do is that we just need to copy this and paste it here. And instead of book on, let's say here book 2, this will be book 3. Okay, I think I made a mistake somewhere. Okay. So this time the book name will be Ikigai, and the writer name will be Carlos, and this book name will be 80-20 rule, and the writer name will be Thomas. Let's say we want to print the this one. Okay, actually this will be book 3. Book 3, book 3, book 3, and this will be book 2, and book 2. Okay. So I hope there is no issue anymore. If we now print the title for the book 2, it will print Ikigai. Let me just run it. There you can see it printed Ikigai. You can print multiple book value as well. Let me say here book on, book 2 and book 3 title. Run it, and there you can see it printed all the books name over here. So there you can see that it is kind of a hassle over here to write all those book on title, price, author name on by on. So you can do it really simple way. So right now we're going to talk about constructor so that we can make our code more shorter. So here you can see book on equal to new book, right? So what we're going to do is that we'll go to our book.cs, and here we're going to mention a function here. We're going to say here public book, then to first bracket, then to second bracket like this. And for this book, we're going to mention the title, price, and author name. So again, we need to say here string, and we're going to declare a different variable over here to store the title, price, and author name. So here I'm going to say p underscore title, I mean book title, then it will be integer p underscore price, then we are going to say string p underscore author. Okay, let's just do this. So you can name the variable anything you want. I just do this to make it more understandable for you so that you can understand it really easily. After that, we're going to mention this title over here equal to, we're going to mention this b underscore title. There you can see this one over here. Then we're going to say here price equal to b underscore price. Then we're going to say here author name equal to this b underscore author name. So there you can see we mention over here public book with 3 parameter. So those are called parameter. And if we now go to our program.cs, there you can see it is showing us a error there. So we need to write some value here. So we are going to, first of all, we have the book title, price, and author name. So we can mention over here easily the title will be Ikigai. Then we can mention the price, let's say 20, and author name will be Robert. So there you can see. So we basically did the same thing with really easily. If you want to print it, let's say here console dot write line, and instead of book on, we are going to say here book on dot title. So it will print the book title. If we just run this, they can see it printed the book title. So we can create multiple constructor over here. So let me just paste it here and here. So instead of book on, this will be book 2, this will be book 3. You can write this any number of time you want, up until 100,000 or million. So this book name will be Think Clearly. It will be Albert, and this one will be again Reach That, For That, and it will be Kiyosaki. The price is 10, the price will be 30. So if we now let's say we want to print the book on title, book 2 title, and book 3 title. So let's say here book 2, this will be book 3, run it. There you can see everything is printed properly. So we make our work super easier this time. And if you want to print something over here in this public function, okay, let me just show you. Let me say here console dot write line. Let's say here test to first bracket, end it with a semicolon. So what will happen if we run this? Let me just go to program.cs, run it, and there you can see it will print test, 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 and then the book name. Why 3 times? Because we call the book on, book 2, book 3 3 times. That's why. Even if you just remove this and run it, it will still print test 3 times. Okay, so if you want, you can print something over here as well. I just wanted to show you that. So right now let's go and add a method over here. So let's say here public will declare a bool function, bool. Okay, it will be public bool, and the function name will be, let's say, rating, the book rated. Let's say here book underscore rating. Let's give to first bracket, then to second bracket, like this. We are going to give a if condition here. So for now, there you can see it is giving us an error. So let me just declare a variable here, public string, let's say here rating. Okay, it will be actually integer, public integer rating, whether it is 3, 4, or 5. Then we also need to say here integer rating, and here let me just copy this and paste it here. We're going to say here rating, it will be b underscore rating. So we need to say here b underscore rating. So let's go to our program.cs and let's add a rating. Let's say this is 4 and this is 3, or let's say 2, and this is 3. So the book rating is 4, 2, and 3. And here in this public bool function, I think P will be smaller later. Okay, in this public bool function, we're going to say here if rating is greater than or equal to 4, then we're going to say return true. Else we're going to return false. Else we say return false. So if the book rating is 4, it means this is a good book. Otherwise, this is a bad book. Okay, it is showing me error over here. B underscore rating, B underscore rating. Okay, it is showing me error over here. Okay, second bracket expected. Okay, there will be a second bracket over here. Okay, it is not showing us error any longer. Okay, this is the extra second bracket. So this function will be outside the outside this function. Okay, so here if the book rating is greater than 4, return 2, otherwise return false. So here we'll go to our program.cs, and here we're going to say console.writeLine for the book on. We want to print this function. We will call this function basically. So let me just copy this and paste it here. So if we now run it, they can see it returned 2 because the book rating is 4. Let's say we want to see the book rating for that 2. If we say here 2, so here the book rating is 2, so it will come to this function, public pool function, because we mentioned the function over here, and it will check the rating over here. For this if condition, it will check the rating, and they can see if the rating is smaller than 4, so it will return false. So if we now run it, they can see it return false. So right now we're going to see get and set method in C#. So we're going to use the same example here as well. So let me just remove this, and let's go to our book.cs, and let's remove this as well. And let's do one thing, that is, instead of public, we're going to make the rating private. Let me say here private, and let's say the rating, it will be string. The rating will be string, and here we need to say string. There you go. So make sure to add string over here. So after that, we're going to talk about get and set methods. So right now we'll come outside this first second bracket, then we're going to say here public string, and here you can see string, public string is this one, and we want to write get and set method for this. So we need to say here exactly over here, we need to say here rating, then let's go down, let's give to second bracket like this, and we can say here get, then we are going to write the set method. Okay, it is giving me error for R. Okay, if you want to write a get and set method, the R should be capital. There you can see right now there is no error. So here in the get method, we are going to say, we'll just say here return rating. That's all. And in the set method, we're going to give a if condition here. Let me just write it like this. So we're going to check whether the rating is good or bad. And let's say here instead of 4, we're going to make this string character. So for this, let's say good, and for this I'm going to say average, and this will call, let's say it bad. So we have 3 rating over here: good, average, and bad. So let's go to our book.cs, and we're going to give a if condition. If value if equal, if it's good, we need to give double quotation. If it is good, then we're going to say here, okay, let me just write it properly, or we can give this sign. This sign is or. If the value is good, or if the value is average, or if the value is bad. So we're going to check those. If any of those is correct, then we're going to say here rating equal to value. Else we're going to say here invalid input. Let's say here rating equal to, it will be invalid input or invalid data. So we can use get and set method so that the user cannot give any other data other than those data, so that the user always give valid data. That's why we can use get and set methods. So for example, for this rating, here you can see good, average, and bad. if someone try to write over here cat, and if someone try to print this, it will give them a error. Let me say here, okay, let me just show you the basic things first. So here we have give a if condition if the value is good, average and bad for the rating, otherwise return invalid data. So let me just print something. Let's say here console dot write line book on dot rating. So there you guess it is giving us an error. So we need to mention the capital R over here. So we need to mention capital R. So this will come to this function, public function rating. Then it will get the rating, check the value and return us a certain rating. So if we now just run this, and there's a error for second bracket over here. So let me go to program.cs. Let's run this, and there you can see it is showing us rating good. And if we just say here book 3, run it, it is showing us rating bad. But let's say for book 3 instead of bad, let's say some random odd here, and if we now try to run this, it will return us invalid data. So what will happen is that if someone tried to give some invalid data, then it will come over here and it will check the data. If it is fine, okay, it will return the perfect rating, otherwise it will say invalid data. So right now we're going to talk about inheritance. So inheritance is basically really simple. I'll make it as simple as possible. Some of you may face some issue to learn inheritance, so I will make it simple. So inheritance means a object can inherit another object. It means this book object can have another child object. Let me just give you an example. Let me just remove all those from here. So we only have book.cs over here. So here we're going to write a function. So let's say here public void make life advice to first bracket, then to second bracket like this. Okay, not make actually. Public void life advice, and we're going to say here console dot write line book about life. Then we're going to have one more function here. Let me copy it, paste it here, and this will be let's say money advice book about money. So if we just go to our program.cs and from here we call those function, it will print this. So from here we're going to call those objects. So let me say here book, then book on equal to, it will be new book. So let's say here book on dot, it will be, let's say money advice. If we just call it, then it will print this one, book about money. So let me just run this. They can see it printed book about money. If we just again just copy it, paste it here, and if we say here life advice and run this, it will print book about money and book about life. Now let's go and create one more file over here. So let me just right click on my project and click on add, click on new item, and here we need give a file name here. Let's say Chinese writer.cs. Click on add, and it will create a file called Chinese writer.cs. So here what we are going to do is that we are going to say here Chinese writer also write book about life and money without copy and paste those over here. What we can do is that we can just keep this double clone here, and we can just mention this book name over here. Here you can see internal class book. We're just going to mention it over here. We can just say here book, and that's all. So right now, if we just put our program.cs and stop book on, if we just say here Chinese writer, let's say here writer equal to new Chinese writer, and we're going to say here writer dot money advice. So here you can see in the writer dot money advice, we didn't write any function, but we just inherit the book class. So we'll have access to those function as well. So if we just run our project, here you can see it printed book about money. And in the Chinese writer, you can also rewrite the value of money advice or light advice as well. For it, let's say we want to rewrite this in the Chinese writer. So we need to mention over here public virtual void money advice. So if we now go to our Chinese writer CS and we can mention over here public void money advice to first bracket then to second bracket like this, and we can say here console.write line Chinese write about money. So right now here we just overwrite this function. So we said over here a public function money advice, which is basically this one, and from the program file.cs we just call the money advice. If we now just run it, it will print Chinese writer about money. But if we just mention over here book, then book on equal to new book, and let me just copy this, paste it here, and this will be book on. If you now run it, you will see different value for the same method because we just override this method in the Chinese writer. So if we just run it, there you can see Chinese writer about money, book about money. So this is called inheritance. So yeah, this was all about C#, all the basic. I tried my best to make it as simple as possible for beginner. If you still have any problem or any issue, just let me know in the comment section. I really appreciate if you subscribe, and if you want to buy me a coffee, the link will be given in the description. Make sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the future tutorials.